Hey girl, are your healthy habits all over the place or non-existent? Do you wish you could find true food freedom, move your body for joy, and really just talk a little nicer to yourself? If you have tried to habit hack your health, but the strategies you've tried just haven't worked for you in your busy lifestyle, then this podcast is for you. Hey, I'm Emily Nichols, habit and fitness coach, behavior change specialist, and Taco Tuesday enthusiast. Hey, I am here to tell you there is an easier way than what we've been taught about our health and our habits. How do I know? Well, because I've transformed my own life through habit hacking, and now my family gets the best of me, and I now help my clients do the same. I'm now going to teach you how to create healthy habits in less time, guilt-free for all seasons of your life. It's not your fault your habits haven't worked, my friend. We just have to do them differently. So, are you ready to feel empowered and transform your habits and life? Then let's do this. You're listening to episode 221 of Habit Hack Your Health. Hey friend, welcome back to the show. I'm so happy you are here. Gang, we're going to be talking about consistency today. One of the biggest challenges I hear from my community, is how do I stay consistent with my healthy habits? Especially when you're like, girl, I don't have a lot of time. I have no time. I get that. We've been talking about that a lot the past couple of weeks as the Habit Hacking Masterclass has been going on. This is a free audio masterclass of the best time experts focused around you, the millennial, busy working mom who's trying to do it all. You're carrying that big invisible load and you want to make the time, but you need some strategies to work for you. So the masterclass is free, but it's only available until this Sunday, the 24th of September, 2023. So make sure to go listen, my friend. Also, the Habit Hacking Bundle is now live and that goes away after the 24th as well. The masterclass helps you realize why you need to take the time for your healthy habits. The bundle shows you how. It's going to give you over $450 worth of value of products from each of these time experts for just $47. It's an amazing value. It's not overwhelming. There's just 6 of us, and on y'all, it's the best of the best. And these ladies have such servant hearts, and I'm so pleased with how the masterclass and the bundle turned out, because each episode, each piece of the bundle just build off of one another to help give you some realistic, real life strategies to make your health a priority and make the time using strategies catered toward you, always leading with that atomic habits for women philosophy that I talk about so much here on the show. So it's all linked in the show notes, or you can go to habithackingbundle.com to find out more. So gang, we are going to talk a lot more about consistency today. And one way to do that is to dig into your own human design chart. Now, we talked about the 4 tendencies a few weeks ago and taking different personality quizzes to find out the data about yourself, right? I have everyone that does an accelerator do the 4 tendencies quiz to realize what motivates you when you're establishing your healthy habits. But we're going to take it all the way back to who you were born to be with human design today. You have no conditioning from the world, from social media, the people around you. You're just learning about what your human design type is and how this can help you to lean into being more consistent with your habits. We're getting super, super specific today. Now, like I said, consistency is one of the biggest challenges we face as women. In fact, in my Movement Habits Accelerator, one of my signature mini courses, that is one of the challenges we directly habit hack together is consistency and sustainability. What does consistency mean? This word is thrown around a lot, and it's just the quality of always behaving or performing in a similar way, or of always happening in a similar way. Now, this is something you need to take into consideration when creating habits. What is holding you back from being consistent? Well, it might be your human design type, and you're making it a little harder on yourself by not leaning into who you were meant to be, your soul's blueprint, as we talk about today. So we have a human design expert on today, Kelsey Abbott. But in short, before we get into our conversation, let me give you just a brief cliff notes of what human design is. We'll get into it more in our conversation with Kelsey as well. You're going to love it. But in short, human design is a system that gives you a detailed blueprint of how your energy is designed, how you are unique, and what your gifts and life purposes are. That sounds like big woo-woo, but trust me, I'm going to give you some big eye-opening things that I learned after this conversation as I dug into my own human design chart too. So all you need to design your human design chart is your birth date, your birth time, and the location of your birth. So I was born August 23rd, 1981 at 12:20 p.m. in Indianapolis, Indiana. And our guest today, Kelsey, is going to give you a free human design reading. She has a link that I'll link in the show notes for you. I took it, and I'm going to tell you what my human design chart was and how crazy this was. I was having the conversation with Kelsey because I didn't know what mine was. But in our conversation, I was like, oh, I think I'm leaning towards this, and I'm leaning towards that. And I was exactly right. So what are the 5 human design types? So there's a manifestor, a generator, a manifesting generator, and projector, and reflector. So there's 5, okay? And just a brief overview, a manifestor, this basically means they have a strong presence. Their energy can be felt by everyone around them. Their energy is here to initiate, to start new things, and be a catalyst of change in the lives of people around them. And this is all pulled from an article in Mind, Body, Green as I was doing my research for human design. Their weakness is feeling that they don't want to inform. They don't want to tell other people what they're thinking or what they're wanting to do because they don't want to be controlled. Next, a generator. Generators are like the workhorses of the world, and their strategy is to respond. They respond to things like gaps in the market and inequities in the world. They're preparing the world forward with their work and energy that they access that energy by doing things that light them up. Okay, when things don't light them up and they do them anyway, that's when a generator can really become burnt out. Okay, next is a manifesting generator, and they tend to be more focused in one area of expertise. Generators tend to be focused on just one area, like having one area of expertise, while manifesting generators are a jack of all trades kind of people. They are really here to use their energy, creating and building what they want, the same way a generator is. And they're here to use their body's responses to guide them towards those things. But they're also designed to be trailblazers and to be super impactful and inspirational, just like a manifestor. Excuse me. Because this type of energy combines the strengths of manifestings and generators. Both type of weaknesses may also come into play. So burnout is possible when they neglect their body's messages, and difficulties arise when they don't inform others of what's going on with them. Next are projectors. So these individuals are here to guide the energy use of others. So they have this role of seeing other people and really being able to offer advice, for example. They have this energy where they kind of project that onto others, right? And they can make really great leaders. And lastly, reflectors, they have no consistent and reliable energy for their own. They basically just reflect the energy of their environment and hold the purpose of acting as that mirror, and are really good at discernment because they're so open and understanding. They can also discern who is authentic, who's healthy, and who is not in their lives. So out of those 5, when you hear those, is there one you're leaning towards? For me, there was one I was leaning towards as I was having this conversation with our guest today, and I was totally right. I had Kelsey do my human design chart, and I am a manifesting generator, which I was certain I would be. And at the end of our conversation, I had a feeling and kind of gave examples on how I would feel about something. And when she pulled my chart, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what it was. So our guest today is Kelsey Abbott. She is a high-performance coach who uses science, spirituality, and play to help amazing humans remember who they are so they can do epic stuff and live an aligned life of ease, joy, and abundance. So she's a certified professional coach, performance energy coach, energy leadership master practitioner, and she's studied and trained in human design, Reiki, Tibetan meditation, Feng Shui, mindfulness meditation, and so forth. She is a competitive triathlete and 6-time member of Team USA. And after living on the East Coast forever, she, in 16 months of traveling around the world in a camper, Kelsey now lives in Florida with her husband and puppy. This is such a really eye-opening conversation. Come into it with an open heart. I loved having this conversation. I loved hearing it back, and then doing my human design chart with it. It really gave me some eye-opening ways to think about how to establish some healthy habits for myself. Okay, so we'll make sure to, as always, link everything in the show notes. Get a pen and paper handy. Listen to your intuition as you're listening to this episode and how you can use this data to create healthy habits with our guest, Kelsey Abbott. Let's go. All right, gang. I am so pumped to talk up with Kelsey Abbott of the Find Your Awesome podcast. We're going to be talking all things human design, healthy habits, how we can intertwine these. And I'm just so pumped. I want to learn all I can. So Kelsey, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Emily. I'm so excited for all of this.
Same. Okay. Well, the first question I ask every guest is, what comes to mind when you hear the phrase self-transformed?
Evolution. We are all here to evolve every second of every day. Every moment is a brand new moment. We have a chance to be better than we were before, whatever that means in that moment. And to be like, a year from now, who do you want to be? And finish that sentence with, I want to be a person who. That is self-transformed to me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's for sure an evolution. Like who we were a year ago, 5 years, 10 years ago is a completely different version of ourselves. And it's okay to evolve over time, for sure.
It's what we're supposed to do, even.
Right?
Like the phrase that I was taught in coaching school is you either grow or you die. I find that dramatic. So I always think of it as you either grow or you wilt. I don't know if anyone else out there has a peace lily. Mm-hmm. We have a peace lily that we've had for 5 years. And we call it the drama queen because how do we know if it needs water? Oh, it tells us. It just like, oh my God, I'm so thirsty. Oh, hey, did you water the drama queen?
Oh my
God.
God.
We give it water and it's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, that's such a great analogy. I love that, Kelsey. I love that. Okay. So, let's dig in a little bit more. Let's talk about you first. Can you share a little bit more about your own story? What has led you to really what you do today, and more importantly, who you are today as well?
Yeah. So career-wise, I started out as a marine biologist and I studied killer whales and dolphins and coral reef fish. And then I became a science writer, then randomly saw this post about a friend who was finishing coaching school. And I immediately was like, tell me where you're doing that. Tell me all the things. I had been a psychology major in college, but therapy did not call to me one little bit. And then, after I saw that post, got information from her, I was enrolled in coaching school the next week. And let's see, started my podcast. My podcast is going to be 6 in August. So when this airs, my podcast will be 6 years old, which is mind blowing to me. And let's see, I'm a triathlete. I'm currently living in Florida, used to live in New England. We traveled in a camper for 16 months before we landed here. Yeah, I love nature. I love being outside. I am here for the joy.
I love that so much. I love that. Well, and that's definitely an evolution just in how you felt called to do something. I love that so much. I feel like a lot of times, like you find a calling on your heart and sometimes you have to just act immediately before you have a chance to talk yourself out of it. Right?
Yeah. Like what's the logic here? I can tell this story in a way that sounds so logical because 10 years later now, I can see the path. But at the time, there was no logic to it. It was just like, I know what I need to do and I need to go to coaching school. Yeah. There was like no option. People ask me, they used to say, oh, what made you brave enough to quit? I used to, as a marine biologist, I worked for the federal government and I quit when they offered me a big promotion. And people are like, oh my goodness, you're so brave. How did you do that? And I'm like, I didn't have an option. I needed to go. I was done.
Yeah.
Didn't love it.
Yeah. I love leaning into that gut feeling. Sometimes you're just like, we got to listen to it though. We got to listen to it. Well, let's talk a little bit more about human design. I know you are an expert on this. I think this is a really great place for us to think about like who we are, what makes us us when it comes to establishing our healthy habits or who we want to be, what we want to do, all aspects of our life. So let's just start with a basic question, Kelsey. And what is human design?
The way I define human design is years and years ago, your little baby soul got called to Earth School. And I got so excited because Earth School is so much fun. It's where we play and bounce around against other beings and we learn and grow and just keep evolving. And before it came here, it decided who you're going to be and what you're here to do and chose all the gifts and tools you would need to do the thing you're here to do. And it sprinkled all of those gifts in this thing called your soul blueprint, also known as your human design chart. And then it found the exact date, time, and place where you would come into this world to seal the deal. And then you come into the world knowing everything. On day one, you know it all. You know exactly who you are. You know what your gifts are. You know what you're here to share with the world. And then on day two, you start forgetting. I call it the great forgetting. And then on top of that forgetting, all these very loving humans start telling you the way that you're supposed to do things. And that is conditioning that we just start taking in from the get-go. And then years later, you learn, oh, there's this thing called human design. And this is the blueprint my soul chose for me before I was born. If I follow this, it all gets to be easy. What? Like because the people who came before us struggled. Humans for decades, for eons have been on the struggle bus, just pushing. Life is hard. And when we remember who we are, we see, oh, there's an easy way. And we get to do it that way.
That's so beautiful. Your soul's blueprint. I love that so much. So, like you said, we're born with this. This is who we are, but then we start forgetting and all that conditioning starts happening. So, how do we get back to the root of that blueprint and remind ourselves who are we and take that info with us throughout the rest of our lives?
To start by getting your human design chart, which you can do for free on my website at kelseyabbott.com. You need to know the day you were born, so your birth date, the time, and you need to know the exact time. So get it off your birth certificate and the place and put all that information in, and I will send you your chart for free. And that is going to give you all the information you need. But when you first see a human design chart, you're probably going to be like, huh? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Because that was definitely my response. I was like, I don't have any idea what I'm supposed to do with this. So I will tell you when I send you your chart, I'll tell you your energy type and your profile. And your energy type is how you are designed to dance with the energy around you. And your profile is like your personality. Now, these two pieces are the very tippy top of the human design iceberg. There is so much goodness below, but that is a great place to start because knowing your energy type will tell you the strategy that you're meant to have in this world. And again, the strategy and how you dance with the energy around you. So let me give you a little overview. There are 5 energy types: generator, manifester, manifesting generator, projector, and reflector. Generators are the most common, then manifesting generators, then projectors, manifestors, and reflectors are not very common at all, supposedly. And I say supposedly because I know a bunch of them. I feel like I shouldn't know like 5 of them if they're like only 2% of the population. Anyway, let's start with the reflectors. Reflectors, their strategy is instead to wait a lunar cycle. And what that means is a reflector, when you look at a human design chart, it's filled with all these different shapes. And those shapes are your centers. A reflector, all of those centers are white, meaning they are feeling and amplifying other people's energy completely, 100%. So they are a different person in different environments. Mm-hmm. They're a different person when they're around different people. In fact, if you want to feel really awesome about yourself, talk to a reflector, because they're going to amplify you right back to you. If you're feeling good about yourself and then you talk to a reflector, they're going to throw it right back in your face and you're like, oh my God, you're amazing. Yeah, you're saying like, I'm amazing. So reflectors need to honor the fact that they are fluid, that they're a different person every single day. And that is their strategy for making a decision and just dancing with the energy of the world. Projectors, we're going backwards here. I usually say this in a different order. So projectors their strategy is to wait for the invitation. And projectors often get a little tangled up in that whole word wait and feel like that means that they have to sit on the couch all day and just wait for someone to invite them to do anything that they want to do. No. What it means is if you want to give guidance, which is what projectors are here to do. If you want to guide somebody, wait for them to invite you. In other words, don't give unsolicited advice. And that is a useful tidbit for all humans. Here's how it goes with projectors. Projectors see everything so clearly. Like they are like a bird on a branch while the rest of us are scurrying around on the forest floor. The projectors are watching everything. And imagine they're watching this squirrel who's trying to find his nuts. And the projector is like Judgy McJudgy up there. I'm like, stupid squirrel, like your nuts are over there. But let's say eventually the projectors can't hold it in anymore. So the projector's like, squirrel, your nuts are over there. And the squirrel looks up and is like, who are you? Mind your own business. Now, imagine the squirrel is looking around for his nuts. And he looks up and is like, hey there, projector. I bet you see everything from up there. And the projector's like, yes, I do. Thank you for noticing. And he's like, do you know where I put my nuts? And the projector's like, yeah, right over here. And the squirrel is so grateful, going to send all his friends to this projector. So what happened there is the squirrel, AKA the manifestors, the manifesting generators, the generators, and the reflectors all made space for the projector's wisdom. So if the person invites you, they make space for your wisdom to land. If they don't invite you, they don't have space for your wisdom to land, and the projector is going to feel bitter. So projectors' strategy is to wait for the invitation. Now, manifestors, their strategy is really just to do the thing, but technically it's to inform. And what that means is manifestors have really big energy. And they have a habit of just leaving. So manifestors are supposed to just say, I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Or I'm going to go play on the swings or whatever it is. Just tell people what you're doing before you do it. It just makes the energy flow more easily. The big picture, the way manifestors are meant to move is manifestors get urges. And so they'll get an urge to go climb a tree. And they're meant to follow that urge until it ends and then to rest until the next urge comes. Now, generators and manifesting generators are very similar and very different. Manifesting generators are actually a hybrid between manifestors and generators. So let's talk about generators first, and then we'll get to manifesting generators. Generators are here to do what lights them up. Their strategy is to respond. And what this means is, and this is true for manifesting generators as well, the universe is your personal shopper. So the universe is constantly bringing you things and you are responding with your body like, oh, I love it. I'm so excited. Or, ooh, I don't want that. Or, nah, I'm not into that. Or you don't even really notice. You're just like, no, I don't do that. But just think about this as you're listening, because generators and manifesting generators are the majority of the population. Everything that comes into your life is something the universe is bringing you. And it's like, I brought you a pretty rock. Do you like it? Do you like the smell of jasmine? Do you like the smell of coffee? Do you like the smell of a porta potty? And you're able to be like, yes, yes, no. And constantly responding. Now, the things that are yeses, you're meant to follow those things. So something comes up, like for instance, human design for me, not immediately, but eventually became a holy hell yes, more and more and more. And I kept following it. It is my soul showing me this way, this way, this way. You're meant to do what lights you up. And when you do what lights you up, you elevate the world because your energy becomes so juicy, so sparkly, so magnetic, so incredible. So manifesting generators, same as generators, but manifesting generators are also here to play and need to inform because they have that manifestor side of them. And let me just give you a quick example of manifesting generators informing. My husband and I make dinner together every night, and we always start with salads, and it's just the two of us. And we used to find ourselves each getting out 2 bowls and starting salads in that. So for the two of us, we would have 4 bowls with like half a salad in each. And so now we're both manifesting generators. We both say bowls when we're getting the bowls out. It can be that easy. So just tell people what you're doing.
I can imagine a lot of the listeners are kind of almost leaning in, being like, oh, I could see I'm a manifesting generator. I'm a reflector. I'm this one. I feel like I'm even kind of leaning in like, oh, I feel like I'm like this or I'm like that. And like you said, kind of leaning into what is going to give you that energy based on that soul's blueprint. I feel like it's such a great way to make life a little bit easier. Like you said,
Yes.
right? It doesn't have to be so hard. And maybe it feels so hard is because, we're taking on a different energy that's not meant for us.
Yeah. And as you are listening, if you haven't pulled your chart yet, we all have all of those energy types in us. And then like for me, I'm a manifesting generator. So the manifesting generator is the dominant energy type in me. Oh, I wanted to add something else, but it's gone. So it'll come back if it's meant to. Oh, that's what it was. I got it. That I remember the moment. It was like a couple years into studying human design where I was like, I don't need to figure it out. I don't need to figure it out. It is not my job to figure it out. The universe is doing it all for me. The universe is bringing me things. I get to respond. I don't have to figure it out. It was like pure freedom for me.
I love that. I love that. So, okay. So first step would be to go to your website, have all that information you already expressed. I'm going to do that for when I record this intro, then I can tell everyone what my chart said. I already kind of feel like I know what it's going to be, or maybe it'll be a surprise. I don't know.
I have some guesses for what yours is too.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And then from there, how do we then take that info? We're all about healthy habits here on the show. How can we implement that within our healthy habits? Because I feel like a lot of times folks are, we teach habit strategy here, and it's like, okay, this is the strategy we need to do. And we have to do it from a lens of female perspective and atomic habits for women and all the internal, external distractions we have in our life. So how can we really apply this towards healthy habits in our life to make it stick and for it to not just feel so hard anymore to, I want to eat healthy. I want to move my body. I want to talk nice to myself, but that feels really hard and complicated.
So let's move up. Everyone pull out your human design charts that you've now got and look at the top of the chart where there are 4 arrows around the head. So for people who don't have their chart yet, the human design chart is like in the center, it's basically like the profile of a human head wearing a tent. And then on the sides, there are these 2 columns with a bunch of numbers in them. Up by the head, you'll see 4 arrows, and those arrows either point to the left or the right. Now, the top left arrow, this one, if it points to the left, you are here for consistency. If it points to the right, you are not. So sit with that, let it blow your mind. For those of you who are like, oh my God, I've been trying to be consistent my whole life and I can't. I've been beating myself up over this forever. Maybe does your arrow point to the right, then give yourself a hug, apologize for all those years that you spent beating yourself up, and recognize for you, your healthy habits might be like, so have something overarching. Like, I'd like to eat healthily today. And then a list of 100 different options, things you can eat that are healthy, instead of like, okay, I have the exact same thing for breakfast every day. That is not for you. But someone who's made to be consistent might be so psyched to be like, I know what I'm having for breakfast every single day. It is so easy. I wake up craving it. It's perfect for me. So that's number one.
I think that just blew everyone's mind, because it did mine. Because like a lot of times you hear so many folks talking about consistency and productivity and all these different strategies, which is great. But sometimes that makes my palms sweat almost, because I'm like, well, my day's not consistent every day and it's really hard for me. And why can't I do this? Like you said, we end up beating ourselves up. So it's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's just the way we are wired, and we have to learn how we're wired.
Exactly. And consistency, sometimes people say that this means that people who are here for consistency like to do the same thing every day. And that is false. It is. So I'm built for consistency, and I do have the same thing for breakfast every day. It is currently overnight oats with hemp seeds and flax seeds, and I love it so much. And then I meditate, like I have my morning routine, and I can mess with the like the order of things, and I'm fine. Currently, I'm solo parenting 2 rambunctious puppies, so they get walks before I meditate, because that's just for the best. So I'm sorting out the routine, but yeah, I'm still going to meditate every day. Okay, so then the arrow under that, the bottom left arrow, if that one points to the left, you need what I call safety lanes. If it points to the right, you don't. So safety lane means you need to set yourself up for success. If you want to spend less time on your phone, lock it up. Take the apps that you don't want to access off your phone. If you do not require safety lanes, locking your phone is going to be a distraction. Taking the apps off your phone is also going to be an energy drain. If you need safety lanes, if there's foods that you don't want to eat, get them out of your house. If your arrow points to the right, just don't eat them. Because getting them out of the, like that whole process would just be annoying. If it points to the left, you might find that doing some sort of accountability group, like Sober October or Vegan, is it Vegan January or Veganuary? I don't know. But one of those might be super helpful for you. If it points to the right, just do the thing. How does that all resonate for you, Emily?
I'm like, I got like goosebumps, because I'm like, yeah, like I can feel like that feels overwhelming to be like, well, I'm going to clean out my whole pantry. But some people may be like, but I just don't have the willpower to, not eat those foods. But so it's kind of finding, like, leaning into that human design chart when you figure out what lane you are in, figuring out from there, okay, what's going to help give me energy from this, and actually taking action on it. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Like for me, for example, just based off my intuition, what you're saying, I don't feel like I need safety lanes. I think I could just not have it like in my pantry, because I feel like cleaning it out would be like, like so overwhelming. Like I don't even want to do it. And then I probably just eat the foods while I'm cleaning it out, because
you'd be like, what? I don't want to waste it.
Yeah. Like, what's the point? So, gosh, I feel like this can open up a lot of grace for the people listening to give themselves, and just to dig deep into that chart, and really starting with, finding out your soul's blueprint and taking it from there, and just applying that to your habits, and just reminding yourself of that day after day. So would you recommend, like, printing out your chart, having it visually in your vision every day to remind you, like, oh, okay, maybe this is why I'm doing it this way. Be a little nicer to myself now.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I do with my clients. I use human design. So I'm a coach who uses human design, and I am constantly reminding them. So if a client came to me and is like, I don't want to be on social media, but I keep finding myself in social media, and their bottom left arrow points to the left, I'd be like, give yourself some grace and delete the apps. Take them off your phone. Set yourself up for success. And this is how you train a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to bark at all the dogs that they see, you try to avoid all the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So you set them up for success.
Mm-hmm.
Same with humans. And I do find that people who need safety lanes tend to be super resistant to them because I think there is a belief that they're like, that they need to have the willpower to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with that. Your soul simply chose that you need safety lanes. So look at it this way. If you're walking through your living room and you always stub your toe on your coffee table, you could make yourself a safety lane. Like you could put a pool noodle around the coffee table, like, or you could move the coffee table, but you do something to set yourself up for success. Same here.
Mm.
You wouldn't just be like, oh no, it's okay. I'm just going to stub my toe every single day. Same. Just make it easy for yourself.
Yeah.
Your soul told you how.
Yeah. Human design, like you said, just can make your habits and your life so much easier if you just have that starting point and knowing, going back to the very beginning and realizing, okay, this is who I am. This is the energy I need in my life, and just taking action and applying that towards everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love that so much. I love that so much. Well, Kelsey, this is so enlightening. I got to go check my birth certificate or call my mom, double check what time I was born, because I'm like so into this and how this can really, cultivate our healthy habits and just make life a lot easier for ourselves. So where can everyone connect with you and find out more? We'll definitely make sure to link your website in the show notes so everyone can go get their own human design chart as well.
Thank you. Yeah. Come on over to kelseyabbott.com. That's where you can find all the things, get your chart, get on my email list, take the free alignment quiz. And I'm also playing on LinkedIn right now, so you can find me there. I retired from Instagram and Facebook in 2020. And because my arrow points to the right, I'm pretty sure those apps are still on my phone. I don't even know. I just don't touch them.
I love it. I love it. Well, Kelsey, thank you so
and the
much.
Find Your Awesome podcast. Sorry about that one.
Yes. We'll make sure to link it all in the show notes. I imagine they're all going to be subscribing to the Find Your Awesome podcast as well in their weekly lineup. So Kelsey, thank you so much for this conversation. I was excited to learn from you, and I know the audience is as well.
Thank you so much, Emily. I had so much fun.
Kelsey, thank you so much for this conversation. Friends, I hope this was really eye-opening for you and just gives you another layer to peel back, if you will, into knowing about who you really are. The first step in the habit hacking system that we teach is to gather data about yourself. We've been talking a lot about gathering data about your time, but also leaning into who you are and using things like the human design type or the 4 tendency quiz or Enneagram for that matter, to really dig deep into who you are and understand what motivates you and make things a little easier on yourself by setting yourself up for success when creating your healthy habits. So as always, let's talk about our 3 biggest takeaways. So number 1, if you follow this, it gets to be easy. Kelsey said that a lot today in this conversation. And, I think anytime you take some type of personality quiz or dig deep into something into like human design, it really helps you remember who you are and give you that insider information like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And what's going to give you energy and how you can give energy back as well. And it'll help you create some strategies to really deal in the world, right? We have all of these energy types from each design, like Kelsey mentioned, but we're dominant in one. For me, that was manifesting generator. Next, know your type of consistency. So when you do a human design, there's some arrows on there, 4 arrows. And it was so interesting in this conversation because as you remember, I was like, oh, I would rather do it like this than like that. And my human design chart was right on, right on. So instead of that top arrow pointed left, you were good at consistency, or you wanted like consistent, like the same thing. This was me. And at the bottom right, at the bottom one, if it pointed to the right, it was like, you don't need those safety nets because that feels too overwhelming. And that's exactly what mine said, and exactly the example I was giving to Kelsey, and like how I felt in talking about that. And I was exactly right. So you already know a little bit more about yourself than what you think. So, but sometimes gathering that data is really interesting. So for me, like I do like having a lot of the same meals, for example, every day, because I don't have to think about it. And setting up safety nets, like for me, I can just put my phone away. But actually, like creating safety nets for me feels very overwhelming, and I'm just rather not do it, which is so interesting to like feel that way and then like actually see the data. It was really cool. So I definitely highly recommend you go take the human design, get a chart from Kelsey as well. And then lastly, give yourself grace and set yourself up for success. Your soul tells you how. I love this so much. And our last habit hack we talked about together was to learn your human design chart, print it out, and hang it up just as a visual reminder for when maybe you're feeling a little down on yourself. Give yourself a little grace. Well, like, well, you know, I'm not setting up these habits in a way that feels consistently towards what's easy for me, and I need to rethink the way I'm doing things. So, gang, I have it linked in the show notes for you to go take, go click on the link. You'll enter your data that we talked about. So your birth date, the time you were born, city, state, and Kelsey will send you a human design chart. It's completely free. And I'm so excited for you to dig into this and use this as just another tool in your belt in regards to habit hacking your health. Okay, friend, as always, everything is linked in the show notes for you, so you can go get your free human design chart and connect with Kelsey Abbott. And of course, connect with me as well. The Habit Hacking Masterclass and Bundle is linked there for you as well. Don't forget, it goes away this Sunday, the 24th. I'm so excited about this. This has been on my heart, and I'm really excited about each masterclass we'll be hosting every quarter, starting with a food freedom one in January. I'm so excited. I'm always leaning into new ways to serve you and thinking about meeting you where you are. And this masterclass has proved to be very successful and exactly what y'all needed. So go listen, go get the bundle if you need help taking action, and I'll catch up with y'all later this week. Hey girl, real quick before you go, did you know I have a secret podcast where I talk all about why most habit strategies don't work for us women? Spoiler alert, it's not our fault. Visit bit.ly/atomic habits for women. It's linked in the show notes to access my secret podcast series and have your biggest aha moment about why and how women have to do habits differently. And if you love the podcast, the number one way you can thank me is to leave a rating and review in iTunes. That way more mamas can find the show. Love and appreciate you, friend. We'll see you next time.